Hi guys, happy Witchy Wednesday. So, yeah, still can't get hair color. Very, very upset. Strange. Blah. So, alright, we're done with the Egyptian. Well, we're not done with the Egyptian, but we'll continue with that another time. There's a ton more gods and goddesses that we need to go over. So, I found some sacred geometry, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, that's pretty cool. And I wanted to go over that too. So, this is the Mystica.com again, and we have every symbol you can possibly think of for sacred geometry. So our definition of the term sacred geometry describes the geometrical laws which create everything in existence. So the human body. There we go. So this term, it relates to mathematicians, geometricians, magicians, spiritual seekers, artists, anthropologists, and archaeologists. So it encompasses the religious, philosophical, and spiritual beliefs that we have sprung up around geometry in all major cultures during the course of human history. So, going back into school, even thinking back into school, we learned about this. We learned about the pentagram in nature, all of these sacred symbols, sacred geometry. So it's pretty interesting to learn, actually, see that on the, chalkboard. I don't even know if they use chalkboards anymore, but they did when I was in school. But it's very neat. So the geometrical laws from the flower of life produces the blueprint of the one consciousness that created life and existence. So we have a unique ability to subconsciously recognize geometric order from transitionary chaos. So we value highly the harmonic proportions in design that are bound by the laws of sacred geometry patterns. So which itself the embodiment of harmonic waves of energy, melody, and universal proportion. So you could do a lot with that. Just that little bit of information, you could go far. Now, meanings of the sacred geometry. So different symbols, the sciences, the art, all of it. So now, primeval culture, including Hindus, the Egyptians, Greeks, Christians, believes that certain geometric patterns or shapes are reoccurring in nature. For example, a snail's shell is a spiral, the cells of a honeycomb are hexagons, and the passion flower grows in a logarithmic spiral. So, now these are all standard forms of the sacred geometry symbols. So, these shapes were broken down by the ancients into numerous mathematical formulas, various numbers and symbols that were the foundation for everything in the universe. So that does make sense. It's also in the Book of Thoth. So, while it may be esoteric, a fundamental knowledge of these patterns and shapes in nature can help us to see our world in a new light. So it's an essential factor when constructing sacred structures such as mosques, temples, and monuments, besides tabernacles and altars, as well as meeting places such as village greens, holy groves, and sacred wells, which are sacred all have a kind of geometric symbols in their structures. So, the creation of religious art using divine proportions and iconography are all connected to this school of thought. So also arts based on this type of geometry, maybe ephemeral, such as medicine wheels, sand painting, and visualization. Yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting too. So now art. So there are many locations in the world where these geometric figures are in art. So some of these are in temples, synagogues, and churches in the following countries: China, Israel, Turkey, India, Spain, and Italy. So that would be just amazing to go see all of these, just these sacred temples and these, structures and symbols inside them. Alright, now the science, within science, the theory is also in modern science. The little patterns that form the basis of life are indeed the same patterns acknowledged by ancient cultures. Science believed the knowledge of mathematical formulas and sacred symbols were instrumental to the most of the construction in early civilizations, such as the Greek Pantheon and the Great Pyramids of Egypt. So, and the intricate temples discovered all over Central and South America. Alright, now we have sacred geometry within religion. So sacred geometry patterns consider considers particular geometric shapes and some geometric proportions as holy or sacred. So it attributes figurative meanings to these shapes and forms, and it is connected with the belief that God is the geometer of the world. So forms and shapes that have been traditionally in architecture, arts, and meditation since the ancient period are sacred geometry symbols. They're everywhere. You can find them all over. It's cool. It's really cool, guys. So, similar forms and shapes are also found in natural organisms, which is very true, it's very interesting, and it's very neat. So it's also a worldview of pattern recognition, an intricate system of religious characters and configuration, which includes time, space, and form. So these are designs, patterns, and structures from the tiniest element to the manifestation of life visible to the human eyes, to the unseen. The essential models of life are sacred. So, according to this principle, the basic pattern of existence are regarded as sacred. By connecting with these, a believer reflects on the greater design and the greater mysteries. So, moreover, by studying these relationships, forms, and their connections, one will gain insight into the secrets of the universe as well as its law and lore. Now we have geometric patterns, which you all know. I mean, everywhere, literally everywhere. Alright, now, we find patterns, designs, and structures in nature, so these forms, without a doubt, are of geometrical representation, which makes known to us the quality of each kind and its vibrancy, so its vibration. So these patterns are also a symbol and mean that the part cannot be separated from the whole. So, this understanding, this underlying metaphysical principle of oneness is infused into the design of all forms in its infinite diversity. So, this belief in inseparability, interconnectivity, and harmony is a constant reminder of our link to the whole. So, we're not just an individual, we are part of a higher concept in the scheme of things. So, yeah. True. Now hence it is like an outline for the mind to the holy foundation of all things. Universal patterns found in the design of everything in our reality have their origin from these sacred patterns. It is in sacred art and architecture that there is a fundamental conviction that geometry and mathematical ratios, proportions, and harmonics are present in light, music, and cosmology. So it's very interesting. This value system is perceived as prevalent since the beginning of time, a social connectivity of everything in the universe. I love it. I love it. So now we have sacred geometry symbols and their meanings. Love it. It's so incredibly amazing. Alright, so there are many symbols that we find in the in geometry of nature. Here is the list of the most important shapes and meanings. Each shape is a pattern in nature, so obviously we have the circle. So the circle is one of the most critical shapes of geometry in nature. It is a symbol of unity and of wholeness of the universe. Besides the ratio of the circumference of the circle, in contrast to its diameter known as pi, which is never-ending, a never-ending number, neither does it repeat itself. So, now we have the sphere. The sphere is referred to as a container that can hold all forms. So it is a symbol of inclusion, oneness, and integrity, as all measurements are the same in sphere. Seeds, planets, atoms, cells are all spheres. We have toroids, something like that. The round sides of toroids are perfectly circular, like a donut or an inner tube. So the torus is the primary shape of all existence. By a geometry of the sacred, for instance, the 7 muscles in the heart are in the form of a torus. So, that's really interesting. Now we have point. Every measurement either begin or end at a point. So at even the center of a circle or sphere contains a point. For this reason, this is the belief that the point connects with the beginning and the end of any type of creation. Now we have the Mystica Piscis, and that's the 2 circles interwoven just a little bit together. So the word Vesica Piscis has its origin in Latin. It means the bladder of a fish. Now, it is the intersection of two circles of the same size at the point where their centers connect. The Vesca, or the Vescia piscis, is almond-shaped. So the circles represent the fusion of sperm and egg, which leads to creation. The intersection can also be symbolized, or can also symbolize a shared vision between two people. In Christendom, represents Christ. Oh, the fish. But it's older, so yes. So now we have the spirals. We have the Fibonacci sequence. So there's various types of spirals, such as the equingular, flat, and logarithmic, whatever. Yeah, I don't know those words, so I'm butchering them, so sorry. However, the most popular is probably the shape of the Nautilus shell. All kinds of spirals represent growth and expansions as endless. So we will go on with a lot more of these. We have like the golden spiral. We have tons of imagery and stuff to go over. So we have the flower of life now. And the flower of life has been used as a symbol for ages all over the world. It is a geometric flower, so it forms like a flower-like pattern with various evenly spaced circles overlapping each other. Also, it portrays the original patterns and forms of space and time. So we all know what these look like, but I will put a few in there. I'll put a few in there for you guys to see. Yeah, definitely a lot of these. I like this. So the flower of life. So we have now the seed of life is another sacred pattern of nature. So now we have Platonic solids. So the Platonic solids are three-dimensional shapes with faces that have equal size. An example is the pyramid shape, which has 4 identical faces. Now these are 5 Platonic solids, namely tetrahedron, 4 faces in a pyramid shape, hexadedron, 6 faces in a cube, octahedron, 8 faces, dodecahedron, 12 faces, and loxodedron, 20 faces. So these shapes were identified in the Greek times and by Plato, and was the origin of their names. So the ancient Greeks used these 5 shapes to represent earth, fire, air, water, and spirit. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, you all know what these shapes look like. They're hexagrams. They look like hexagrams that you find in the barns of farmers, pretty much. Now we have Metatron's cube, which you all know, and I know a lot of you will know this one. So Metatron's cube contains all 5 Platonic shapes, which were considered to be the building blocks of creation. Metatron is sacred for millions of years ago. From millions of years ago. It is derived from Metatron, the angel who guards God's throne in Judaism. So that's really interesting. Really interesting. So if it contains all of those for creation, what could we do with Metatron's cube? Now we have jewelry, of course. Sacred geometry jewelry is the use of sacred, spiritual, and nature powers of these shapes. We find pendants and necklaces, earrings, and collars representing geometric art. You can see the most important jewelry handmade and with special properties. So, yeah, that's very true too. So books, you can, this is just all whatever. So, in summary, the sacred geometry was usually in ancient civilizations in the design of architecture and art. It is also in simple spirals, as well as intricate designs, even in modern engineering. It is still in the planning and construction of many structures, especially in religious monuments and in the creation of religious art. Especially in, a lot of the Goetia, ceremonial magic, ritual magic, high magic, the Kabbalah, what else? Everything. Pretty much, everything. So, now. Okay, the egg of life, meaning the egg of life has regarded as a symbol of a new life for many centuries, so many cultures see eggs as a symbol of fertility and rebirth. In sacred geometry, it is the second iteration while forming the flower of life. As such, it has about 13 circles. We'll go into all of these detailed definitions probably tomorrow. So we have fruit of life meaning in sacred geometry. Now the meaning of the fruits of life, conceptually defined as the fruit tree, fruit of life, is a network of data treasured in a sacred pattern, also referred to as the Holy of Holies, and that's also found in ancient Egyptian religion, which is amazing. So, of the sacred pattern, as it's shielded in the popular Flower of Life, motif spread across the globe. So the fruits of life have been described, and then we'll go on. I mean, there's a lot. There is so much here that we have to go over. All right, now the tree of life meaning, obviously. Okay. The meaning, humanity is divided by millennia of history and mythology. So the myths or beliefs of a different sect, tribe, or region differ by a mile. So although people have different beliefs in myths, we are bound by one feature that always appears in every legend, is the tree of life. Very true, too. So Metatron's cube meaning, it's Jewish in nature, so Metatron's cube's meaning, the Metatron's cube comes from Metatron, obviously. The name Metatron is referred to an angel and archangel in certain branches of Christian mythology and Judaism. So the Christian scriptures and Jewish Tanka do not. However, the Talmud mentioned him a few times. Primarily, there was a mention in medieval Jewish text. Now we have one more, so the seed of life. And we will expand on all of these. So the meaning of the seed of life represents the 7 days of creation. So its meaning is the unique and universal symbol for creation. The first step of creation begins with octodron, creation in the context of the seed of life, and then this is followed by spinning the octotron on its axis, leading to the formation of a sphere. So we will go on. This is really interesting, actually. We will definitely go on to all of these meanings. More so, a lot more so, tomorrow. So I love that. That's amazing. That really is amazing. So, alright guys. Are you guys enjoying the snow that we're getting? I love it. I think it's amazing. It's beautiful, and yeah, I just love it. I'm very happy with it, so. But alright guys, I hope you guys have a good day. Be safe, all of you, please. And I love you all the way from Venus, all the way back down. There we go. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And happy Witchy Wednesday. And I love you guys, and still be safe. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow.